Yeah, it's another depressor.
They think there's no power and electricity. Like, I drive like a hybrid, which hybrids are a total scam, by the way.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at an old ad for a Chevy Chevette in the late 70s after the gas crisis. It basically gets the same mileage. But, you know, I got this hybrid. My mother's literally going like, can it go up a hill? Like, I'm like, no, I live on flat land. That's one of the little glitches of the hybrid. It can't go up a hill. It's like, have you ever heard of a subway? Have you ever gotten on a subway during rush hour? What's there, like 1,200 people there? They can get that thing going 40 miles an hour. They can't get my skinny, freckled ass up a hill in a Prius. I mean,
well, it's all about control, man. It's all nonsense. You know, it's all about control, and it's all you got to watch out all this green movement too. They want you to pay a carbon tax for breathing. They're telling us it's going to be less for us. They're going to expect us to make all these sacrifices. You're going to literally be taxed on how many cars you have. You know, how much garbage you have, how many kids you have. I mean, they're really clamping down, and that's what this green movement is about. And now
that's because we're every year you're behind the eight balls. They keep printing that money.
Yeah.
You keep getting behind on that interest. You know, I was in St. Louis recently, and not only did I pay sales tax on the hotel, I paid an occupancy tax. They taxed me for doing what you're supposed. It's like you're going to tax me for sitting in a chair pretty soon.
Yeah, well, like in New York, cell phone tax right now is at, I believe it's 20%. So look, for every $50 on your plan, you're paying $10+ a month just in taxes to have a cell phone. I mean, give me a break. I mean, they don't rape you enough.
The whole system is broke, and now, once again, that's when I tuned out on Obama. When he made that speech and did the we got to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps again. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. I didn't do anything wrong. I saved my money. I didn't buy any shiny stuff. I'm telling you, what they should have done if they, I mean, it's impossible. It's just too big a thing, but they should have let the banks fail, and then they just should have started over again.
Well, you need to watch the Obama deception, man. I mean, it's basically all about the banking crisis and what's going on right now. But on top of that, it shows that, Obama and Hillary went to Bilderberg this last year in Chantilly, Virginia. He's in the pocket of these guys, too. He's not about any change. I mean, let's be honest. He's redistributing the forces into Afghanistan. He's not moving anybody really out of the Middle East whatsoever. He still plans on 50,000.
Even if he's not into, like, conspiracy theory, like, just as far as, like, an economics thing, how the hell are we going to afford another $10 billion a month or whatever it costs to have all our guys over there? And also, why do we have to have our entire force over there, or a huge majority of them, to fight a terrorist group? I mean, we spent all this money on weapons. I mean, can't they look into my apartment from space at this point?
Almost.
Some 7'8" guy over there with a beard walking around the mountains and vaporize them.
Yeah, but that's not what it's about. It's about building a Eurasian Union out there for another. They want the North American Union, want the Eurasian Union. That's why the European Union and the euro is going to succeed. The euro will be around. That'll survive the economic crisis no matter what they do. And the dollar's going to die. What they bring in, whether it's called the Amero or whatever, who knows what it'll be, but they're definitely blowing out this economy on purpose. And, they're basically talking about how we're no longer going to be the world's leader, and we're going to be into a second world type economy, and that's what they want. They really want us to start sacrificing, and that's what it's all about, man. I mean...
Well, and they used us.
Yeah, big time.
They used us for centuries, basically, to get themselves into this position, and now they're done with us, I think. And... Yeah, man, it is what it is. The thing that scares me the most is, like, that whole election, I didn't hear anybody talking about the population problem. I mean, it's I didn't do so great in math, but I mean, it's pretty simple. If everybody keeps banging away and everybody keeps having 2-3 kids.
Well, they're talking about it in private. If you really want to know, Bill, that's again,
that type of stuff. And,
it's not.
You know what I love too. What I've really figured out is with, like, this whole money thing is that I'm constantly rewarded for putting myself behind the eight ball, and that's really what money is. It's not my money. It's basically they give me money, and my job is to get myself into a position that isn't hopeless, but it's just one step ahead of hopeless. So they got me, you know what I mean? If I get married, I get a tax break. If I have a kid, I have a tax break. If I get a mortgage, I get a tax break. If I don't get married, if I don't have any kids, and I drive a hybrid, I think I should get a tax break. You know what I'm saying? I'm not adding to the traffic. You know what I mean? I'm not adding another jerk in front of you sitting there, trying to make a left.
Well,
I actually figured out the other day because I'm sitting there trying to pay off my apartment. That's like my big move.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing, so I'll have something tangible, hopefully, before this whole thing goes under. And I actually figured out that if I paid off my place, my reward would be I'd actually pay an extra $4,000 a year in taxes.
Oh my God! Well, that would save you
it's
somewhat.
Like I swear to God, I mean, I don't know how clean you can be on this show, so I'm not going to say what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But it's just like they have every angle worked out. Every way you look, there's another you-know-what just staring you in the face, and there's nothing you can do.
Well, there is some stuff you can do. I mean, you can let other people know. You can try to fight outside the system. I do hear your plight on, you finally buy your place and all of a sudden your taxes shoot up by $4,000 a year, so it's not even that much of a break for you. You figure after you pay for it, you should own it. But when you talk about population control, man, these guys are all about population control, and that's what's really scary to me because they're talking about population control. They want to cut, for instance, Britain's population from 60 million to 30 million within 20 years. How does that happen? You know what I mean? I mean, who's dying and why?
Yeah, and it's like
even worse than that. Let me say this.
You know what the thing about it is too is it's looked at in a business way.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at things in a business way, there's no.
No, the little guy's going to get it. That's it.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's no compassion. It's going to be a numbers thing, and. Believe me, dude, this phone conversation alone, I'm going to end up on the wrong side of a FEMA fence. You know what I mean?
Well, we're going to talk about that in the last segment. Thank you so much for doing this with Bill Burr. BillBurr.com, MySpace.com/Bill Burr. We'll be back after this. It's the InfoWarrior. Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv. All right, folks, we are back. Final segment with Bill Burr. And, you just talked about a bunch of things in that long segment, but one of the things was, the population seems pretty stupid, but, that's part of their program, too. For instance, in the vaccinations, they put mercury. I don't know if you just caught the latest story about high fructose corn syrup, but they said 50% of that was cut with mercury. I mean, they're literally dumbing us down on another level. And my next guest is actually coming on. I don't know if you saw this story, but they found 2 separate types of bird flu in the bird flu vaccination shipped out to 14 separate countries. And the only reason they caught it is because one of the subcontractors injected a ferret and it died. So, to me, that doesn't seem like much of a mistake.
I thought always in the vaccination you got to have part of the poison, don't you?
No. This had 2 live virus.
Yeah. The vaccination came out from it.
Exactly.
You're really getting outside the realm of anything that I understand. As a comedian.
All right. Well, let me just say this: 2 different live types of virus. It killed the ferret, and a live type of flu virus. All right. No, when you have a vaccination, you're supposed to have a small bit of it. Not enough to infect the person, and kill them. So all I'm going to say is go check it out. Bloomberg reported on it. It was the only mainstream media source in the U.S.
They're going to do stuff like that, and a bunch of people are going to die. Everyone's going to be freaked out, and you're going to have very obedient people left.
Yes.
And whoever is still fighting at that point just ends up in a re-educational system.
Well, the GIVE Act passed, and
you never see them again.
You talked about how there's too many people. Well, they really think that way, all right? And I don't know if you know how AIDS was introduced here, but just type in Factor VIII HIV. Bayer, with their injections, injected a bunch of hemophiliacs and other people who had, nothing with AIDS. And they admitted it. And then they shipped it off to other countries. And even with all the people who die in Africa of AIDS, think about it, that's where the majority die. The population, like you said, still goes up. So even with their eugenics programs, man, they're looking to wipe out even more of us. I know this is a very depressing conversation. However,
it's brutal. That's why I started to watch the Obama thing, and it's just like I can't sit here and I'm gonna have my head in the stove.
Well,
and, I don't know. I think
I hope not, because you're a really funny guy, man.
Regular people were a little bit more organized, and that there was some sort of pushback, even on little things, like say the airlines charging $15 for your first checked bag.
And 25 for your second?
Gas is so high. Gas has been down now for at least 6-7 months, and they've never relinquished that charge. And there's no sort of, I don't know, maybe because it's like 5 guys seem to run all the media now. You just never see any stories about any sort of outrage. No one wants to pay that charge, but we're all just sort of doing it.
No, I hate it. I travel a lot too, and it's really, really, really annoying. And even if you want it as a carry-on, they have size limitations now, and they're like, oh, you can't. That's like a suitcase.
Something freaked me out. I was in Utah, and it was a big long security line, and this guy's going, if you want to bypass the security line, we got this new technology where they fingerprint you and scan your retina.
Yep.
and you can go right around it.
Mm-hmm.
And, get to the front of the line to walk through the metal detector, and it's just like...
Yep, and a lot of people will do it.
You're not fingerprinting me and scanning my retina to get on a damn flight. I'm not doing that. So I'm thinking in my head, like, you know what? I'm not going to do this, but most people will, which is hilarious because they're selling it to you like it's this quicker thing.
Mm-hmm.
But once everybody's doing it, it's not going to be quicker anymore. It's just another way of, like... It's just, another way of them being able to document who you are, where you are at all times, and it really limits your ability to ever rebel against anything that's an oppressive force, which is, if everyone gets microchipped, that's going to be the end. Because
I would
once
agree.
they figure out who's, becoming a problem, all you got to do is just turn the person's chip off and they're homeless. You can't make any moves without any money.
Bill, thank you so much for joining us.
I can't even tell you how much I hope I'm 100% wrong.